Hey guys, welcome to the technical analysis video for the 12th of April 2022, recorded after the main US markets, equity markets have closed. So we're looking at the spot daily chart of Ethereum, and we got a big drop yesterday, and we're into the 50 moving average. The one saving grace now, the fact that we've come down, is that we're into the 50 moving average of this yellow line, which is rising upwards, telling us we're still in a sort of short-term uptrend, and we've hit it as support, and we are bouncing off that price. Now, before I sort of jump on the bandwagon and say, oh wow, you know, this thing's going down lower, I want to wait a few days, maybe just to see what's happening. Remember, the market makers in cryptos, and for that matter equities as well, and options, the market makers will swing price up and down to shake people off before it resumes the trend that it was on originally. Now, in my previous videos, going back the last few days, the last week or 10 days in fact, I said very clearly we are into resistance here, and we are probably going to top out, and we will be range bound. And you know, I've said as long as we stay above the 50 and 20 MA, you know, the show is still on. On this chart here, we're still in business. We've got a rising 50 MA. We just have to wait and see. Is this the bottom, and are we off to the races again, coming back up to test this 200 MA, or will we linger down here and will it be a weak bounce? That remains to be seen. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see what the picture is there. So a weaker situation here. We are below the 50 MA, but again, before I jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, this thing's going lower, I need to see, does the 50 MA start to turn lower? If we linger down here below the 50 MA, it will then start to turn lower, and that would portend downside. However, if we recover and we go back up, given what we've seen on Ethereum, there is a chance of us getting back above the 50 MA. It may not be tomorrow or on Thursday. It may be a few days, but we just have to wait and see how this thing pans out. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. And again, what we're seeing are signs that we're range bound when we hit that 200 MA. Right, now, at present, this weekly candle has not closed, and although we are heading, or we've been heading lower thus far, what I did say is we need to remain above the 20 MA, and it needs to turn higher. That's why I was able to tell that we're not going to get more upside. Going back to my previous videos, I said we're going to top out here and we're going to be range bound. We need price to go sideways for the next few weeks for that 20 MA to turn higher. Now, at the moment, we've dipped below the 20 MA. We have to see where we end up at the end of the week. But if we do get above the 20 MA and we linger above it, and then the 20 MA starts to turn higher, we could be going back up. At the moment, again, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and say we're going down and heading south, and we need to wait and see and take it one step at a time. Do we linger down here? If we linger down here and we can't get above, then that obviously would not be so positive. Let's take a look at the main equity markets. Well, before we do that, let's just take a look at the weekly chart of Ethereum. I don't think we checked that one out as yet. Slightly more positive picture here. We did not close below the 50 MA last week, and although we are down below it at the moment, we need to wait and see where we close at the end of this week. Also, remember, downtrends or medium-term downtrends take some time before they form. So at the moment, we've got this 50 MA which is moving upwards, and it will take some time for it to start turning downwards. So that's another positive. And it's the same story here. So let's take a look at the SPY. So at the moment, yesterday we closed below the 50 MA, and today we've closed even lower. The 50 MA looks like it's starting to turn downwards, but again, remember, the market makers try and shake people out. Are we just going to stay here for a day or two and then go back up to shake off you know, all the people that are on the long side, or is this something bigger on the cards? So again, we have to wait and see what happens over the next few days. Will be key for these markets. Alright guys, so just jumping back to the spot daily chart of Ethereum. Again, we're into this 50 MA, it's pointing upwards, that's a positive, and we are getting a bounce off that level. Again, I want to give it a few more days and see what happens. Do we remain above? And if so, what's the reaction going to be? I'll try and give you guys an update hopefully sometime towards the end of the week. Alright guys, thanks for joining, and as always, the contents of this video do not constitute financial or investment advice, and any trading you do as a result of this video is done entirely at your own risk. Alright guys, I'll wrap it up there, and I'll catch up with you guys very soon.